At the beginning of every workshop, you always ask us if we're appreciating the contrast. And we always say, well, yeah, because we think that's sort of the right answer we should say. And for me, I was always concerned that appreciating the contrast would make the contrast expand even more. And so I always want to say, well, yeah, I appreciate it, but I really didn't mean it. Anyway, but what I've found recently is that I've been doing a lot more meditations on a daily basis, and I found a resonance with a holiday song, part of a holiday song that's very popular, and it goes, dashing through the snow in a one-horse open sleigh, o'er the fields we go, laughing all the way. And it seems so much of my life previously I was trying to push the sleigh and probably push the horse too. But now I feel like I am being carried and just lightly kicking up a little bit of that contrast and o'er the fields we go and just really laughing all the way. So I'm feeling that maybe it's okay to appreciate the contrast a little more. And when I do, it feels so good, but then I sort of get that scary feeling like, oh, is it going to expand even more? So that's my question. Does appreciating the contrast help create more contrast?
Let's start with, again, appealing to your logic. When you go to a buffet, do you like variety, or would you like to just go to a place where there's just one thing, take it or leave it?
Oh, the variety. Yes.
Really? You're not afraid that the stuff you don't want will overwhelm you and jump on your plate? Force you to eat it? So why does that contrast appeal to you immediately? And other not? Because you believe you have choice. You believe that at a buffet you can choose. So you accept that contrast cannot assert itself into your experience, that you're just choosing it. And we want to emphatically submit to you that all contrast is like that. None of it can assert itself into your experience. It's just there for your choosing. And you choose it by your attention to it.
So I've been giving it way too much fear and too much energy than what it really deserves then.
Well, there are a number of things we want to say about it. First, it's one of those uncontrollable things that you can't control. In other words, you can't stop the contrast. And if you're tense and worried about it, then you're outside the vortex. If you acknowledge the variety from inside the vortex, you see, we agree with you completely that if you don't understand the law of attraction, and even more, you're not aware of your vibrational proximity to who you really are, if you can't tell where you're vibrating, then we can see how you'd be alarmed at contrast being out there. That's the way most of the world is thinking about most things. They've got almost all of you convinced that there's so much unwanted stuff out there, and that in order for you to be safe, the world has to be rid of the unwanted stuff. But the unwanted stuff is everywhere. You cannot rid the world of the unwanted stuff. And when you set your sights to do that, all you do is tune yourself to the unwanted stuff. So what we are saying is embrace the concept of contrast and variety and everything being out there while you tune yourself to the frequency of only the pieces that you want. The other night, Jerry and Esther, it was shortly after they came to Del Mar, there was a helicopter circling the neighborhood, circling and circling and circling and circling, and Esther finally went out to look up to see what was going on. And about then, it was not dark yet, about then a broadcast came from the helicopter that be on alert that there was an assault suspect who was last seen in this neighborhood, 2 of them wearing such and such. And Esther went into the house and she felt uneasy. It made her uncomfortable that there was someone, some bad person out there walking through these hills. She didn't like it at all. And she said to Jerry, you know, I'm back and forth between houses. I'm in and out of the garage. Esther's all over the place. So's Jerry, day or night, shoes or no shoes. In other words, they don't lock their doors. They're in and out and all over the place, not even thinking about anything. But now, Esther locked all the doors, closed the window shades, wished that the window shades were more opaque so that maybe we should turn the lights out so no one can see in. It was those kinds of feelings because this helicopter was officially announcing that evil lurked close by. And so then Esther sat to type a little note to us because that's the way that she can ask a question and receive an answer most efficiently. And we said to her, there is more danger around you at all times than right now. In other words, you're moving in traffic, you're standing in shopping centers, you're riding in elevators, you're moving all around this world with all kinds of people who are vibrationally different, but they're not on your wavelength, and so they're not rendezvousing with you. In other words, just the fact that someone has called your attention to something that's going on doesn't mean that it has access to you. You really live in your own vibrational island of well-being, and it does not matter what the intentionality is of anyone around you. You can make claim to your vibration of well-being and practice it so consistently that no one can break through that, because there is no law of assertion, you see. So you don't want to make war against contrast, but you don't even need to make war against those that differ, or even those that you think would wish harm on you, because it doesn't matter everybody could be wishing harm on you, and harm could not come to you if you're not meeting them vibrationally. You see what we're getting at?
Yes, I do.
So conceptually, embrace the idea of contrast while you tune yourself to the frequency of your vortex as best you can, and then watch how your life is unfolding. That's the thing that is so wonderful about all of this, is that what's manifesting in your experience is really an accurate representation of what you're doing vibrationally. So you can just keep improving your relationship with your vortex and watching the improvements around you, and improving your relationship with your vortex and watching the improvements around you. And you'll know that you've really got it when you are consciously aware of the facts that not only is ill will not coming to you or harm coming to you, but the cooperative universe is knocking itself out just to cater to you in this way and this way and this way and this way and this way. In other words, we're not teaching you this stuff just to protect you from unwanted contrasting things. We're teaching you this stuff because you're supposed to be able to create your life in a better and better and better and better and better way. Because the thrill that you're all reaching for is to have reached to a place that's not natural to you, and then to make it natural, and then reach to a place that's not natural and then make it natural, so that those people who are watching you, especially those little ones who are looking to you for guidance and leadership, what they come away with knowing is, I don't know how she does it, but well-being, better than well-being, extraordinary life just seems to follow her wherever she goes. What you want others to say about you is, you must just be the luckiest person that I've ever met, because so much good stuff comes to you. And while you don't need to have a long discourse with them, because they wouldn't understand it anyway, about how it isn't luck, it's really good news when you start recognizing how really wonderful life can be for you. And another thing that happens is that the better life becomes for you, the more you appreciate all the contrast from which you carved that special life, you see.
Yeah. Yes.
Without a lot of variety, you can't see it big. Without a lot of variety, you can't see it really special. In other words, it has to be pretty darn special for it to get more special. You see?
Yes.
We get there for you?
Yes. I also wanted to talk with you about the feeling of keeping up with my own expansion. Through the processes of my meditations and some of the
Let's
processes
use different
that you
words
offer.
just for a moment in light of the conversation that we've been having here today.
Yes.
Think about that hot air balloon floating with the current. Not struggling to keep up with it. Just in it. In it. In other words, because if the current went off and left it, the balloon would just sit there. You don't have to struggle to keep up with it. There's no struggle to keep up with it. Just don't blow a wind in the opposite direction that's mightier. In other words, it's about relaxing and going with the flow. The idea of keeping up is really an outside the vortex concept.
Yes.
Isn't it?
It is.
Keeping up, even gotta get in, even that is. What we want to get you to get the vibe of is it's natural for me to be there. And unless I'm doing something that prevents my being there, I'm there. So it's not about working to get up to speed. It's about releasing those things that you've been doing that have been keeping you from being up to speed. Your vibration will naturally raise. When you let go of the thoughts that are holding it down, it will float like a cork to the surface.
Well, I've not been struggling with it. I've been working, through my meditation, and what I end up feeling is that it's just words that I don't have to describe. I mean, I can actually almost like feel the energy with my hands, that it just feels like the
question that we have for you is, why do you need it to be more? Why do you have to describe it? That's really the whole point of what we were talking about feeling your way into the vortex. Mm-hmm. When you feel your way there, don't try to explain it to anyone. Just feel it and be it and know it and sustain it and let it be the touchstone that you're reaching for, the resistance-free touchstone that you are reaching for.
Okay. Well,
so many teachers have touched on this over time. They encourage you to let go and let God. It's sort of what we're talking about. They encourage you to chill out, to be easy, to surrender. And really, what all of those words are about ceasing the struggle that you have learned to offer, that you have incorrectly come to believe is what you will use to overcome. And we just want you to understand there's no overcoming, because there's no struggling against something enough to make it go away, because the more attention to it that you give it, then the more embroiled in it you are, and the more you practice the vibration of it. It's about ceasing the vibration of it. It's like putting your brain on pause. It's about not talking about it. So here, now we're in a good place. So let's take this into a new vantage point. We're sort of knocking out some walls and going into a new room here. So recently we've been offering the analogy that someone has made you so angry that now you're throwing fists at them. And there was a moment before you actually got into a physical fist fight that if you had stopped and not gone there, it would have ultimately been better for you. It was better before you broke your fingers. It was better before you went to jail. In other words, it was, if you could have just pulled back those punches, even though they really deserved them, it would have been better in the long run for you. Well, in the same way, sometimes you offer words in argument or even in attempt at explaining, and often it would have been better if you just held back those words before you crossed that sensitive line. And in like manner, sometimes it's better if you just hold back those thoughts, or better said, think different thoughts.